This is Constantine. John Constantine. Asshole. Constantine stars Keanu Reeves, Rachel Weisz, Shia LaBeouf, and is directed by Francis Lawrence. What is up, guys? Welcome to another patron-requested review. This is for Matt Casey, or Metatron 1000. And he is a Michael Myers tier patron, which means he gets a review every month. Matt might have to correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think I might have posted a picture or something of Constantine because I love that movie. And I think he responded, oh my God, please review this one. We'll push Evil Dead to the back burner. Something like that. But I was all for that. Yes, I would gladly review Constantine. So thank you, Matt, for I guess accepting my wish to review Constantine. But you like the movie too, so it works out for both of us. But Francis Lawrence, the director, he had a moment there, right? Because he did this movie and he did I Am Legend, and I haven't really followed his career since. I'm sure he's done more movies. But I liked I Am Legend. I think the CGI was pretty bad in it, but overall I still liked the story. Loved the character Robert Neville. But Constantine, I think, is highly underrated, and it's a movie that kind of came and went. Nobody really talked about it. DC property, but I loved it from the beginning. The first time I saw the movie, I was like, wow, this is great. Love this. But then it dawned on me. It revolves around religion. That's right. Anytime a movie is revolved around religion, for some reason, it doesn't do that well at the box office. I think religion just kind of scares people away. The only real exception I can think of is The Exorcist. Mixing religion with a comic book character is even more of a gamble in Hollywood, and I think that's why the movie didn't do as well. Not everybody's going to grasp this character because this is a polarizing type of character too. I could see people going into Constantine and really not liking the character that much at all. He's a very pissed off, cynical, just angry at the world type of character, and that's why I like him. This will be a spoiler review. This is a 15-year-old movie, okay? So know that going into this. If you haven't seen Constantine, highly recommend it. There's really not that many great things to spoil in this movie. It's not like a really big spoiler type of movie anyway. So even if you haven't seen it, you could probably still watch the review and watch the movie and still enjoy it just as much. But anyway, first off, quick plot synopsis. The device at the center of this movie is called the Spear of Destiny. And if you know your biblical stuff, the Spear of Destiny is the spear that the soldier stabbed Jesus in the side right before he died on the cross. Really, that's what killed him. It wasn't the crucifixion, it was actually the Spear of Destiny. And so you see this character in Mexico find the Spear of Destiny, and then this demon pretty much enters his body. And you know, there's that cool scene with him walking along the pasture and all the cows just start falling over. And you know it's an otherworldly entity because this car like hits him and he's pretty much like a brick wall to the car. Like the car just pretty much folds into itself. But because of this Spear of Destiny, demons are trying to use it as a vessel to actually enter our plane, because the rules between the angels and demons is they cannot enter our playing field. They can use influence, but they can't actually come out of bodies and enter. And John Constantine, played awesomely by Keanu Reeves, notices this because at the beginning of the movie, he's doing this exorcism where he gets this mirror and he draws the demon out. But he notices that the demon is trying to exit the woman and actually enter the earth. So he knows something is rotten in Denmark with this situation. And so the rest of the movie, he's pretty much trying to figure out what's going on with this. Also, our main supporting character, Angela, played by Rachel Weisz. She has a sister named Isabel who actually kills herself, goes to hell, and Angela says it's against their religion. She's Catholic. There's no way she would ever do this. And so she tries to talk to John Constantine to help her figure out if her sister actually did kill herself or not. Let's get into the characters of this movie because I really enjoy all the characters in Constantine, starting with John Constantine. I pretty much brushed over this at the beginning, but I just love him as a character because he has cancer. He finds out he's got cancer. He's going to die. And if that isn't a big enough problem, this is a character that deports demons back to hell. And the devil, Satan himself, hates the guy. He has basically stated that he is the one soul that he would come up to earth himself to collect. That's how much he hates John Constantine. So John Constantine knows he's going to die, he's going to go to hell, and then it's not going to be fun times at all. But I just love his attitude, how cynical he is, how rude he is. There's that scene where Angela comes to his apartment to try to talk to him. This is a person that just lost her sister. And the way that Constantine treats her in that scene, knowing that her sister just died, should tell you pretty much everything you need to know about the character. He is brutal.
It wasn't a suicide. My sister was a devout Catholic. To understand what that means if she'd taken her own life.
Her soul would go straight to hell, where she'd be ripped apart over and over in screaming, brutal agony for all eternity. That it.
And I think Keanu Reeves played him the perfect way too, because he's very quiet, you know? He's not like a loud talker, I guess you could say. Whereas usually characters that are like this, they project, I guess you could say. And that's not Constantine's way at all. He says a lot of stuff like under his breath even. But he is very selfish and he doesn't give a shit about anything. We love characters like this, right? They're pretty much like anti-heroes, you know, Snake Plissken, stuff like that. There's this character, Gabriel, played by Tilda Swinton. Tilda Swinton's amazing. She always does a great job. And I really liked Gabriel because there's this constant like push and pull between her and Constantine. Constantine doesn't understand because he's done all these great things to help out heaven. And why can't I get into heaven? And Gabriel gives him the obvious answer. It's not in your heart. You do these because you're keeping score instead of doing it out of the goodness of your own heart.
You're fucked.
And he basically tells her to go F herself, pretty much. Now, Constantine's sidekick, his protege, his Padawan, I guess you could say, is Kramer. Chaz Kramer. Doesn't really roll off the tongue, does it? But this is a very young Shia LaBeouf, and Shia LaBeouf has always been a very talented actor. And by the way, check out the biopic that he directed about his childhood. It's very telling, very interesting, and a little sad. Chaz is a great character in this, actually. He's always trying to, I guess, earn his stripes. And Constantine never, ever gives him the benefit of the doubt on anything. You know, he's constantly making him earn it, and then some.
Can you please get me into this bar, John, please? I'm begging you, John, please, please.
Sure, you can get in,
I can get in?
if you can get in.
But there's this like mutual respect between the two, even though it's never like vocally stated. And you know, at the end scene when he surprisingly dies, which I did not expect at all. You thought for sure that he was going to live in the end, but they ended up killing him. Most people don't know about the end credits scene where he comes out of the grave and he flies up to heaven. And then Djimon Hounsou plays Midnight. This is an actor that I always love. He's like one of the best side character actors out there. Loved him in Gladiator, but he is really good in this as Midnight. He keeps the balance pretty much. He doesn't take sides at all, and he is really strict with this rule.
You dare in my house!
Which is also similar to John Wick, because you have the character Winston in that movie who's also like, you know, keeping the balance. You cannot fight in my hotel. Well, that's what Midnight is in this movie. But Constantine is at odds with him because it seems like the demons have the upper hand. No, you know, nobody from heaven is coming down to help Constantine. He's pretty much having to fight this battle himself. So he's telling Midnight, hey, can I get a little help here? And by the way, just a sidestep, I'm a huge Perfect Circle fan. Big Tool fan, of course, my favorite band. But I also love Perfect Circle. And there's this really badass scene when he comes into the club and then they play Passive by a Perfect Circle. I freaking love that song. That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. You give me a badass rock song in a comic book movie, that's just better. That's just awesome gravy. I could talk about characters all day. Balthazar, played by Gavin Rossdale from Bush, is great in this, actually.
I was born of this.
But really the guy that I wanted to talk about who is the guy who plays Satan. Peter Stormare, who was one of the like silent characters in Fargo who kind of stole every scene that he was in. He steals the scene in this movie as Satan because there's a million different ways you could play the character of Satan. I've actually been watching Lucifer with my wife lately, which is a weird way to play Satan. Satan's cool, right? They don't play it like that. I mean, yeah, he's cool, but you still know that he's Satan. He's deadly. He's scary as hell. And he, you know, he's like celebrating. He's so happy that, hey, I can take John Constantine down. This is going to be awesome. And like right at the last second, Constantine pulls the rug out from under him because he ends up doing the right thing. But talk about a guy just chewing up a scene. Good job, Peter Stormare. But enough about the characters. This is just a beautifully directed movie. And that's one thing that really jumped out at me this last watch that I forgot. And this is a movie that's 15 years old. But a lot of the scenes in this movie are just directed beautifully. And I remember even like watching it with my wife, and there was a few times she was like, oh my God, that's so amazing looking. And you know, she's not like me where she just completely like looks inside the frame and tries to find every little nook and cranny of great directing. No, it just leaps right out at you. And that's what's great about Constantine. I think it's highly underrated, a lot of the visual effects. This is how you do good computer-generated effects, in my opinion. This looked amazing, actually. And in a movie like this, that's this ambitious, and you literally have demons up in the sky burning up, obviously you have to use CGI. It's hard to do a movie like this with practical effects. It works amazingly. Also, the score is really subdued in this movie, but it's very effective. Like, this doesn't have like a big orchestral score that just leaps out at you, you know, like you would think a religious movie would do. No, it uses this, like I said, like really low-key sounding, almost cadence-like with a heartbeat. That type of score, but very effective, actually. And sometimes that's cool. Like, sometimes I like when a score kind of takes a back seat, you know, and lets the story just kind of unfold upon itself. But it's always there, like you know that backbone is there, you know. That's what this is. It's like a backbone type of score. Rachel Weisz, amazing in this. She literally plays two characters, and a lot of times you can get yourself into trouble when you're literally playing twins. And it seems like movies with twins, they never are big box office hits. I'm sure there are exceptions to the rule, but even this wasn't a hit, even though she's not the main character. But for the most part, she's playing Angela, not Isabel, throughout the movie. So I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. But there's a lot of great scenes with her too, especially the scene where she like drowns herself in the bathtub, and you got Constantine holding her under, and she thinks that he's gonna, you know, pull her out right before, you know, she loses breath. But no, she literally has to die. And you know, there's this rule where like a second on Earth is pretty much like hours in hell. And so it's like a split second that she's under the water. She's already been in hell to see her sister for a couple hours. I just did a review on Inception too, and this is kind of the same type deal, but like earlier in Constantine's life, he spent a couple hours of our time in hell, which was pretty much a lifetime. And so he knows what hell is like. And can you imagine spending a lifetime in hell? Like spending a lifetime in a dream like Inception? Yeah, that's brutal, right? But compare that to a lifetime in hell. It's no wonder that Constantine is just such a cynical asshole. You know, when you've spent that long in hell, you're probably going to have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. But guys, I could talk about Constantine all day. I really love this movie so much. I love the characters so much. It's paced perfectly. It has all those emotional beats that you would want in a movie like this. And it's so good that Keanu Reeves even like expressed interest in a sequel.
I mean, the kind of cool thing for me about this movie is just, you know, in the 15 years since it released, every time I do a movie and I go out and travel the world and do junkets, I am signing Constantine DVDs more than any other movie that I've done. I mean, over the years, different countries, people really love this movie. And I think that it's like found a sort of a new life in a weird way. I mean,
and with his popularity right now going on, it makes me wonder, could he get a sequel to this greenlit? Because I would love a freaking sequel to Constantine. It's just an irresistible character, and I can imagine how fun it was for him to play the character. He's even got like a cool way of like holding his cigarette. Because most people, they hold their cigarette with their 2 fingers, but he like, I don't know, cups it with his with 3 fingers. I don't know. What am I talking about? Trapping on an Island. This movie's a freaking Trapping on an Island. I freaking love Constantine. And I think the Blu-ray might be going out of print too, because I had to find it used on eBay. I could be wrong on that. I don't know. I could be making stuff up. I know there's like a double feature that you can get, or a triple feature that has Constantine in there. So if you want it, you can get that. But I don't like buying double features unless I absolutely have to. I like having a single individual release of the movie. But anyway, guys, that's my review for Constantine. What are your thoughts on this movie? Post down in the comments. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day, and on Fridays we do Free for Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.